Hi, and welcome to the fifth episode of the Silver Lining series Back to Basics. Today, we're going to be talking joy and happiness and exploring how to increase both and how to make them last. Now, I didn't know this, but researchers believe that genetics are behind about 50% of our happiness set point, while 10% is affected by circumstances like where we're born and to whom, which leaves 40% up to us, meaning we have the ability to find it, create it, and hold on to it. The problem is that we're not always very good at that. When you're young, other people orchestrate the enjoyment in your life, whether it be your parents keeping you entertained or your friends checking in and making sure you're okay. Barbara Fredrickson, a social psychologist at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and the author of Positivity, discusses that after that stage of life, the scaffolding of having a good day is taken away, and nobody tells you how to provide that for yourself. What happens next is that we get stuck in what is known as hedonic adaptation. Hedonic adaptation refers to people's general tendency to return to a set level of happiness despite life's ups and downs. Commonly referred to as the hedonic treadmill because we always end up in the same place that we started. For example, people who win the lottery tend to return to roughly their original levels of happiness after the novelty of the win wears off. There is an initial influx of joy, of course, but after about a year, people experience the same general sense of happiness. The same is true for those who are in major accidents and lose the use of their limbs. The change in ability can be devastating at first, but people generally tend to return to their pre-accident levels of happiness after the adaptation period. Another example found in research is that the first bite of something delicious is experienced as more pleasurable than the third or the 10th. People become accustomed to the pleasure rather quickly, and soon the same mood-lifting treat doesn't bring the same influx of joy. Now, there are certain activities that are more subject to hedonic adaptation than others, where the happiness they bring dissipates more quickly. These activities are known by researchers and psychologists as pleasures. Pleasures bring quick bursts of, pleasure. Researcher Martin Seligman notes that pleasures are delights that have clear sensory and strong emotional components. They are fleeting and they involve little, if any, thinking. Pleasures can lift your mood and leave you feeling wonderful, but their effects dissipate and we get used to them relatively quickly. But there are other types of activities that tend to leave more of a long-lasting mark. Seligman refers to these as gratifications, which are activities that get us into a feeling of flow, where we don't notice the passage of time, where we're thoroughly engaged in what we're doing and sort of lost in the activity. This effect occurs most easily when it fits into the just right challenge, when it is both fun and the right kind of challenge for our abilities. Not too difficult, lest we feel discouraged, but just difficult enough to keep us feeling challenged. Gratifications, as well as activities that present a strong sense of meaning to us, are more immune to the effects of hedonic adaptation. These are activities that require more effort and thought, but the payoff is higher. The more we engage, the more we enjoy. The thing is, hedonic adaptation is a fact of life. It is a treadmill that we're all on, and in a lot of ways, it keeps us grounded. But our goal is, and should be, to find more joy and happiness in our days. So when we're aware of how this hedonic treadmill works and how it functions in our lives, we are better able to work around the negatives and engage in activities that are more immune to some of the more stifling effects of the hedonic treadmill. But we live in a get stuff done kind of world, and it's usually really hard for us to avoid our efficiency instinct. All of us, at some point this morning, maybe during your shower or when you first sat down at your desk, probably did a mental run through of the day. You decided when you'd tackle various tasks and errands. Perhaps you vowed to hit the gym at lunchtime. Maybe you plotted to get out of something. Apologies, Zoom meetings. The one thing you forgot to plan for? Happiness. So, can you control, change, and impact your happiness levels? Sonia Lomoreski, a professor of psychology at the University of California, Riverside, and the author of The How of Happiness, says happiness is like controlling your health. First, you need to believe that you can do it before you take those first steps to try. So, in our efficiency first world, where we're running on our hedonic treadmill, how do we impact our happiness levels long term? The answer? Plan for it. Don't fit joyful activities into your day. Fit your days around them. Do you ever hear devoted church attendees say, "Can we reschedule church because something came up?" No. You need to have that churchgoer mentality about whatever it is that brings you joy. No one is going to plan or orchestrate your enjoyment in life anymore. That is up to you. And as people get older, they tend to find ordinary treats just as joy inducing as extraordinary ones. With age, we're more aware of how fleeting time is, so we're particularly likely to relish everyday bright spots, which is a beautiful thing. But why wait? My grandparents have always said that the wisest thing that you can do is to have a sense of humor, appreciate the things that you have, and never take yourself too seriously. Words to live by. So, you can always improve your happiness level. You just have to put in the work. So, here are a few things that we can all work on. Number one, conversation. Experts agree that we tend to be happier when we connect with other people. Elizabeth Dunn, professor of psychology at the University of British Columbia, says social interaction is the thing that most reliably increases people's positive emotions, whether you're introverted or extroverted. It starts with hello. Number two, make a joy list. What brings you joy? That question seems so simple, but when was the last time you really considered it? It's often easiest to think about what might bring us joy when we remember times we've been joyful before. Who were you with? What were you doing? How did you feel? How can we recreate those moments to experience joy again? Number three, add some color to your home, workspace, and life. According to Ingrid Fettel-Lee, a designer and author of Joyful, the colors, furnishings, and decorations in our home and in the spaces of our lives make us feel quantifiably happier. Scientific research agrees. A study of about 1,000 people across 4 countries found that those working in vibrant, colorful offices were not only more alert than those working in duller spaces, but they were also more joyful and friendly. Number 4, be grateful. So cliche around the holidays, I know, but gratitude isn't just a concept that we should visit over turkey, stuffing, and pumpkin pie. It's a practice that has been scientifically shown to increase your happiness. And number 5, savor joyful moments. We often let ordinary joyful moments, like drinking your morning cup of coffee, inhaling the rich scent of a fresh candle, listening to birds singing outside your window, pass without acknowledging how pleasurable they actually are. But savoring, which is the attempt to fully feel and enjoy our positive experiences, is proven to increase happiness. James Baraz, founding teacher of Spirit Rock Meditation Center, said it's one thing to know I'm feeling good right now, but it's a whole other experience to know this is what it feels like to feel good. So, the silver lining is that the levels of happiness and joy that we experience are up to us. We have the power to find it, create it, and hold on to it. The first step is believing that you can.